I am not even sure how to begin book reviews without sounding repetitive of everything that's already been said, but I'll start with what I can manage. I hope that from here on forward, you'll enjoy watching a more casual type of review. Before I begin, let me provide you with some context. It was only since last year when I catered my reading, and by this process I discovered that the genre I gravitate towards most is Gothic horror. There is also, I have noticed, a resurgence of classic literature and along with it, a string of film adaptations. So it was truly surprising when I heard that Wuthering Heights, a novel idly waiting in my TBR, will receive the same treatment of its predecessors. Even with its surrounding controversies, I was willing to entertain my interest, given that I read and loved novels of the same fashion: Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, Oscar Wilde's The Picture of Dorian Gray, Daphne du Maurier's Rebecca, to name a few. I know now from experience that putting great expectations for reading a novel can make or break your enjoyment or analysis of a novel. Reading Wuthering Heights had unknowingly made me enjoy a bit of Schadenfreude because of how much I delighted in the misery of it all. I intend to not include a thorough summary plot, but this video is going to contain some mild spoilers for the novel, so if you wish to avoid them, feel free to come back after you have. Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte has the hallmarks of a classic Gothic tale, but as the story continues, we as the reader are reminded that it is more than that. I have found that as I draw more thoughts upon the depraved ordeal that the characters face, the more I realize that perhaps this is the true Gothic horror experience, how most of us, without realizing it, are more unnerved of how real this side of fiction can be. The initial chapters of this story immediately makes us feel as though we have intruded in a place that is forbidden, somewhere dark yet sacred, foreboding yet tempting. Wuthering Heights and Thrushcross Grange only have the vast expanse of nature between them, adding to the isolation of these characters and leaving them to their own devices. Moreover, the introduction of Heathcliff and the apparent otherness he is compared to this new family, this new environment, makes it clearer, looking back, what the story is about. Another aspect that doesn't get discussed enough, in my opinion, is how literacy is used as a driving force for the central characters. After Mr. Earnshaw's death and Hindley's mistreatment, Heathcliff's education is immediately stifled. Catherine's assimilation to the etiquette of high society during her stay in Thrushcross Grange subsequently created a barrier between her and Heathcliff. Her marriage to Edgar was influenced by this fact, not only to gain status, but by extension, also wishes to find an intellectual equal. Heathcliff, on the other hand, exacts his revenge on Hareton, Hindley's son, in the same manner by depriving him of education. The novel truly begins as the narrative perspective shifts to Ellen Dean. With a story filled with deplorable characters and detestable choices, one might say that she acts as the ultimate foil for all of them. She mirrors the reader's frustrations and voice as best she can. Her role is not only to relay the events that occurred to the reader, but also represents the moral compass and the voice of reason for these characters, which unfortunately is constantly disregarded in favor of the impulse afforded by passion. And speaking of which, passion is the main theme that threads all of which encompasses the novel. We see that from the beginning, revenge is an immediate product of Heathcliff's alienation. He is brought on by circumstance to think that Catherine is the only person left who cares for him, so Heathcliff clings to this affection to an obsessive degree. He sets upon taking revenge against those who have wronged him and stood against this warped interpretation of love. Heathcliff's grudge spanned even the new generation of this tormented family: his son Linton, his nephew Hareton, and Catherine's daughter Cathy. There is so much death present in this novel, but by the end of it, if I'm not mistaken, only 4 main characters remained. That is, of course, until Heathcliff also dies. Death is placed in such a clever way to drive the plot and motivations of the characters. It is also made clear as the novel concludes that death is merely an indicator of the past that continues to live on, literally. As we have seen Catherine's ghost at the start of the novel, we see her in a macabre reunion with Heathcliff, perpetually haunting the dreary moors they have so loved to roam. How I feel about this book is complicated, to say the least. My initial opinion was shaped by my own false presumptions. Part of it was when I expected to read a romance novel when it was really far from the truth. My experience was subverted from what it was used to, and despite my frustrations, I realize now that it might have been the point. My confusion mirrored that of Mr. Lockwood. My desperate need of reason to reach the characters was voiced by Ellen Dean. Perhaps this is the essence of true Gothic horror: to make the unreal and the dramatic embody the many facets of human perspective into a compelling story, one that we might not know we're already familiar with. Until the next read, thank you for watching.